What's new for exploration in Western Australia? This presentation is an update on the Exploration Incentive Scheme's activities over the last few years. It's going to cover what great new data has been collected and released recently, what projects are going on right now, and what's coming up for the future. Most of the projects funded through the EIS are collaborative, so I want to pause here and acknowledge some of our collaborative partners, including MINEx CRC, CSIRO, Geoscience Australia, Curtin University, the University of Western Australia, and other national universities. I like to think about the EIS as a giant pie, a pie which feeds exploration in Western Australia. And when we're thinking about this, there are sort of four main slices. There's the drilling and exploration, which is the co-funded programs, prospectivity mapping, exploration through cover, and then the regional geoscience mapping side of things. Today, we're going to take a look at each slice and the projects listed here. We're going to talk about what's been done, data that's been released and where you can access it, and the exciting new finds that have come out of some of these areas. There'll be updates on some of the longer-term ongoing projects, but also on a couple of new projects on the scene, and we'll finish off by taking a look at what great new projects are gearing up and are going to be happening over the next few years. So let's dive in. And let's take the biggest slice first and see what's happening with the co-funded initiatives. Many of you will be familiar with the co-funded drilling program, which is an ongoing program co-funding explorers doing greenfield drillings in Western Australia. Dr. Charlotte Hall gave an update on the program at the end of 2020, and that's available online with all of the other GSWA webinars. We won't rehash that today. Instead, what we're going to do is take a look at the last couple of years, the effects of COVID-19, and some new changes to the program. What we have here is a graph of the total number of co-funding projects awarded per round, paired with the number of withdrawals for that round. And what this tells us is the overall completion rate for the drilling program, and that's shown as a percentage by the grey fill in the back. For reference sake, this graph goes back to round 11, run in 2015, but the part that I want to focus on is this bit here, round 19. Round 19 had a drilling period from July 2019 to June 2020. But come 2020, we as the collective globe found ourselves faced with the COVID-19 crisis. And we can see here on the graph a bit of a dip in the completion rate, but comparatively, it's actually not that much. By the time we get to round 20, which is companies drilling between January 2020 and December 2020, completion rate is on the rise and completely comparable to pre-COVID levels. And then come round 21, completion rates are right up. And this is really great to see because it shows the resilience of the West Australian exploration sector. We're still getting exploration, work is still getting done, and we're still moving forward. In addition to that, there have also been some great results from the program in the last few years. So a couple of these successes. In 2019, PICO launched a maiden RC drill program co-funded by the EIS, and these holes intersected copper, gold, silver mineralization and confirmed the presence of a mineralized structure. In round 21, the program co-funded a diamond drilling project by Karora in their Gamma Zone 50 that tested and found nickel mineralization. And most recently, in round 22, Linus Rare Earths revealed a large area of a new exploration target for rare earth element mineralization after undertaking EIS co-funded drilling at Mount Weld. In addition to the direct successes seen from the co-funded exploration, an independent economic impact report of the EIS was published in 2020, and that report is available on the EIS webpage if you'd like to take a look. This report estimated that for every $1 invested in the EIS, there was a $31 return to the state, and that's a really positive sign for the scheme. The value of the EIS in supporting the economic well-being of the state was further reinstated in July 2021, when the state government announced an ongoing increase of $2.5 million to the EIS. That means there's now $12.5 million each year in the EIS pie. So what does that mean for projects? Something that has become evident is that the cost of greenfield exploration is going up. And put simply, it's harder to get what you originally had for the same dollar value. In acknowledgement of this issue, there are two changes to the co-funded drilling program. First, the refund caps on each of the categories has increased. And you can see that increase on the graph here. For applications in the General Multi-Hole program, the cap is increased from $150,000 to $180,000. For applications in the Deep Hole program, the cap is increased from $200,000 to $220,000, and for prospectors, it is increased from $30,000 to $40,000. There has also been a change to the Deep Hole category. Previously, this category was for companies proposing to drill a single deep diamond hole. Now, applicants can nominate to drill a 1 or 2 deep hole project under this category. A second change to the program is the annual allocation of funds, which has increased from $5 million a year to $6 million a year, which is extra filling in the pie. There's also something new on the co-funding program scene, and that's the Co-Funded Energy Analysis Program, which launched in February 2021. This program supports petroleum and geothermal projects in the state. It co-funds sampling and analysis projects up to 50% and up to $50,000 per project. It runs in tandem with the co-funded drilling, with 2 series running each year. I can't speak too much to the results of this program yet, because we're only just coming to the end of Series 1 and are eagerly awaiting results. For more information on what sort of projects are eligible and how to apply, please head to the website. Those are the main updates for the co-funded program side of things. Are we ready to take another slice? Let's take a look at the prospectivity mapping work that's been going on. And this is an extra juicy section because there have been some great new finds come out of this area. One of the big things to come out of this space over the last few years is some really interesting work on geochemical barcoding. The geochemical barcoding is a big project that's been taking place for the last 5 years in the Eastern Goldfields. The aim is to undertake high-quality geochemical analysis of greenstones to erect a greenstone chemostratigraphy and allow for the position of stratigraphically unknown samples to be geochemically barcoded against known stratigraphic intervals. This involved collection of a very large dataset, which you can see all the sample locations on the map here. Now, this project is having some really exciting finds, particularly in terms of understanding why there are such close spatial and temporal associations between gold mineralization and sanukitoids. Not only that, but the chemostratigraphy is now challenging established ideas on domain and terrain boundaries. There's also a newer project focusing on granite geochemistry in the Yilgarn, and this project is going to be ongoing and aims to provide complete coverage of the Yilgarn Craton with high-quality whole rock geochemical data to identify potential proxies for crustal source composition and fertility. And this is all really interesting science, because we know there are links between crustal fertility, crustal boundaries, and mineralization, and this work is providing baseline datasets for the state that can be integrated into geological models and used for better constrained prospectivity mapping. The data from both projects is freely available online. These are some of the publications related to the geochemical barcoding work, and this one on top, Report 226, is the first major barcoding report due to be released soon. Annual update reports and data releases from the Granites project are also available on our eBookshop. If you have any other questions about these projects, get in contact with Hugh Smithies or Jack Lowry. These are the gentlemen who did this work and know this inside out. Okay, 2 slices down and 2 to go. Next, I want to take a look at the exploration through cover slice with an update on the MinEx CRC projects and the look at a new regional petrophysics project that kick-started last year. The EIS contributes $3.5 million to the National Drilling Initiative and $350,000 to the automated 3D modelling project run by MinEx CRC. Projects relating to the NDI focus on understanding a mineral system from the inside out, mapping and characterising regolith interfaces, and propagating properties from drill holes into regional geology, which is exactly the kind of thing that the barcoding work we just talked about does. It takes lots of small samples and builds a much bigger picture of the geology in an area. Our contributions to the NDI are returned 100% in the form of drilling costs, and planned upcoming drilling by GSWA is going to target an area called the Gap in the remote central heart of WA, and you can see that proposed area on the map here in purple. To do this drilling, we get access to the coil tube drill rig, which you can see in the image here. And the advantage of this is it gives faster and smaller footprint drilling. So you can see the rig in yellow on the image, and you can see just how small it is in comparison to the size of the truck. The other great thing about this rig is that it's really well suited to obtaining samples from covered terrains in remote Australia. Drilling like this is significant because it's frontier work. It's the work that gets done to provide the very first information in an area. The idea is that the information generated from this provides reasons for exploration companies to come along and take a better look, so it's sort of like the pre-co-funded drilling work. Generating even more great data for the state is a relatively new regional petrophysics project. This project is aiming to collect a dataset of high-quality petrophysical measurements from significant drill core that can be used to assist with the interpretation of geophysical data. The sampling includes 8 petrophysical measurements, and in 2020 to 2021 round of sampling, a whopping 3,341 drill core samples were measured. In addition to this, there's also high logger data for almost every core sampled, with a plan to complete that dataset over the coming years. And lots of drill cores also have open file company assay data. So this project really is providing a comprehensive dataset to work with. If you'd like to know more about either of these projects, the MinEx CRC or the Regional Petrophysics, these are the people to talk to. MinEx CRC is a very large research body with numerous projects and members, but the gentleman who manages the GSWA side of things is Richard Chopping, so if you have any questions about it, definitely get in contact with him. You can also read a bit more about our involvement and forward plan in this document, which is available on our ebook shop if you search National Drilling Initiative. In regards to the Regional Petrophysics project, this data is freely available online through MAGIX, the department's geophysical data repository, and some of this work has also been published in a recent report. If you have any questions about this project, Lucy Brisbury is the lady to get in contact with. Alright, back here and we're almost finished. We're into the final slice of the pie, and it might look small, but as the name suggests, there's a lot in here. First, a recap on a longer running project. This is the Airborne Electromagnetic or AEM surveys. This program started in 2019 and is now nearing completion. On the map here, you can see the data for everything that's already been flown, processed and released so far. And the data for this bit in the Murchison has just been released at the start of March. There's only 2 small bits left to fly, and those are scheduled to be flown and the data released this year. Following that, there will be data for the entire state. Now that the AEM is almost complete, there's a focus on collecting regional seismic data. This involves some projects that have already started and a whole lot more which are planned for the future. So let's start with what's already going on. There's currently baseline earthquake monitoring up in the Canning Basin and in the Eastern Goldfields. The data from that is being continuously acquired, with some going online as real-time data, which is accessible through Geoscience Australia's website. Both the Canning and Eastern Goldfields areas are going to expand in their monitoring, with more seismometers going into the ground this year. If we look closer to Perth, there's more monitoring already taking place in the southwest as part of the SWAN project, which is a collaboration between the Australian National University, Department of Fire and Emergency Services, Geoscience Australia and GSWA. You can see on the map over here the distribution of seismometers for this project, and what it's aiming to do is better quantify seismic hazards in the southwest of Western Australia. Coming up, it's hoped that the WA Array project will start this calendar year. This project aims to acquire passive seismic at 40-kilometre grid spacing across the entirety of WA. So pretty much, if it rumbles in WA, we're going to hear about it. That project is going to start in the southwest, infilling the existing SWAN seismometers and then moving progressively across the state. And you can see the infill in yellow on the map. Now this is a great project because it means lots of lithospheric and deep crustal imaging and a broad-scale look at crustal architecture, which will help increase the definition of the already defined crustal boundaries. Not only that, but there's plans for some 2D lines to get a really good look at deep crustal structure as well. 2 areas in the state have been identified for potential deep 2D seismic lines, and these are the Northern Perth Basin and the southwest. The aim of these lines is to get a look at the crustal architecture and help refine and provide better constraints on major crustal boundaries. The position of the lines are shown on the map, with the yellow lines being the priority. In the Northern Perth Basin, lines have been suggested where the existing seismic is unclear, in an aim to resolve what's actually going on in the area. In the southwest, the lines are aiming to provide more information on crustal boundaries that have been interpreted in other pieces of work. If you would like to know more about either of these two projects, David Howard is the gentleman to speak to about the AEM, and Ruth Murdy is the lady to speak to about the passive seismic work. Alright, we've come full circle. What's new for exploration in Western Australia? In the drilling and exploration space, there's an increased funding pool, which is not just for this area, but for the entire exploration incentive scheme. There's increased funding caps and a new energy-focused program. In the prospectivity mapping space, a link between gold mineralization and sanukitoids has been discovered, and there's new ideas about terrain boundaries. In the exploration through cover space, there's going to be new information in underexplored regions of Western Australia and new data to aid seismic interpretations. And finally, in the regional geoscience mapping, there's statewide AEM data and tools for better defining crustal architecture. Thank you for listening, and if you'd like more information on the Exploration Incentive Scheme, please visit our website.